What to say when he pulls away? It usually happens without warning. One week he's texting you every day, he's making plans, asking questions, showing interest and making you feel like a priority. Then suddenly something changes. The replies get slower, the conversations get shorter, the energy feels different. You can feel the distance growing even if you can't explain exactly why. And that's when panic begins. Your mind starts searching for answers. Did I do something wrong? Did I say too much? Is he losing interest? Is there someone else? Most women immediately focus on one question: what should I say? But before we talk about what to say, we need to talk about what not to say. Because when a man pulls away, the first reaction is often the worst one. Many women respond with fear. They send multiple texts, they demand explanations. They ask if everything is okay 5 times in a row. They try harder, give more, and chase the connection with everything they have. It feels natural because when people fear losing something, their instinct is to hold on tighter. But attraction rarely grows under pressure. In fact, pressure often creates even more distance. That's why the most important thing to say when he pulls away isn't a clever line or a psychological trick. It's something that comes from confidence instead of panic. Imagine the difference between these two messages. The first says, "Why are you acting different? Did I do something wrong? Please just tell me what's going on." The second says, "I've noticed you seemed a little distant lately. I hope everything is okay." One comes from fear. The other comes from awareness. One demands reassurance. The other opens the door for communication. Men, like everyone else, respond differently when they feel pressured. When someone senses that every conversation is becoming an emotional interrogation, they often retreat further. Not because they don't care, but because nobody enjoys feeling trapped. Healthy communication is not about forcing answers. It's about creating space where honesty can exist. Another mistake many women make is assuming they need to fix the situation immediately. The moment they sense distance, they start searching for solutions. They think the perfect text will magically restore the connection. But relationships are rarely repaired through one message. What matters more is understanding the dynamic. Sometimes a man pulls away because he's stressed. Sometimes because he's confused. Sometimes because his interest has changed. Sometimes because he's dealing with personal issues he hasn't communicated. The truth is that until he tells you what's happening, you're mostly guessing. And guessing usually leads to overthinking. That's why emotional control is so important. Emotional control doesn't mean pretending not to care. It means caring without losing your ability to think clearly. One of the strongest things you can say when he pulls away is surprisingly simple: "I've noticed a change, and I wanted to check in." That's it. No accusations, no guilt, no emotional essays, just honesty. Why does this work? Because it focuses on observation rather than assumptions. You're not telling him what he feels, you're not creating a story, you're simply acknowledging reality and giving him the opportunity to respond. If he cares about the connection, he'll usually appreciate the chance to communicate. If he avoids the conversation entirely, that tells you something important too. Many people fear direct communication because they're afraid of the answer. They'd rather stay confused and risk hearing something painful. But clarity is almost always healthier than uncertainty. Another important thing to understand is that what you say matters less than the energy behind it. You can use all the right words and still communicate desperation if the mindset underneath is fear. People can sense emotion, energy. They can feel when you're seeking understanding versus seeking validation. That's why confidence is so attractive. Confidence says, "I care about this connection, but I also respect myself." Desperation says, "I need this connection to survive." Those energies create completely different outcomes. One invites honesty, the other creates pressure. One of the most powerful responses when a man pulls away is not actually a text. It's your ability to maintain your own life. Continue pursuing your goals. Continue seeing friends. Continue enjoying your hobbies. Continue protecting your peace. Too many women make the mistake of putting their entire emotional world on hold while waiting for a man's attention. They stop focusing on themselves and start focusing exclusively on him. Ironically, this often makes the situation worse because their happiness becomes dependent on someone else's behavior.
Healthy attraction requires two complete people, not one person carrying the emotional weight of the entire relationship. Another difficult truth is that sometimes pulling away is the answer. Not every relationship is meant to continue. Not every connection is meant to deepen. Sometimes distance reveals information that words never could. If someone consistently withdraws, avoids communication, and refuses to make effort, no perfect text will change that reality. Many women spend months trying to find the right words for someone who already made a decision through actions. That's why paying attention to behavior is so important. Words matter, but patterns matter more. If someone genuinely values you, they'll usually find a way to communicate. Even during difficult periods, effort may fluctuate, but respect remains. Consistency may vary, but care remains visible. The strongest women understand this. They don't beg for attention. They don't chase people who continuously move away. They communicate clearly, observe honestly, and protect their self-respect. They understand that asking one honest question is healthy. Repeatedly chasing answers from someone who refuses to give them is not. So what should you say when he pulls away? Say something simple. Say something respectful. Say something honest. But most importantly, say it from a place of strength. Because the goal isn't to convince someone to stay. The goal is to understand where you stand. And if someone truly belongs in your life, honest communication will bring you closer. If they don't, no amount of perfect texting will keep them there. The moment you stop trying to control someone else's feelings and start focusing on your own peace, everything changes. Because real confidence isn't knowing exactly what to say. It's knowing you'll be okay, no matter what the answer is. With pursuing a person, there is nothing wrong with asking where you stand. There is nothing wrong with wanting honest communication. The problem begins when you keep asking the same question in different ways, hoping for a different answer. If a man has become distant and his actions consistently show low effort, endless conversations about the problem rarely fix it. At some point, you have to stop listening to promises and start paying attention to patterns. Patterns reveal priorities. Patterns reveal intentions. Patterns reveal whether someone is truly investing in the connection or simply keeping it alive out of convenience. Another thing many women don't realize is that when a man pulls away, his response is only part of the story. Your response matters too. Some women immediately abandon their standards because they're afraid of losing him. They become more available, more accommodating, and more willing to accept behavior that once would have been unacceptable. They think, if I just give him more space, he'll come back. Or, if I become more understanding, he'll appreciate me. Sometimes understanding is healthy, but sacrificing your self-respect is not. There is a difference between patience and self-abandonment. Healthy patience allows someone room to handle life. Self-abandonment means ignoring your own needs while waiting indefinitely for someone else's effort. The truth is that emotionally healthy men are not scared away by respectful communication. A lot of dating advice tells women to never bring up concerns, never ask questions, and never express feelings. That's not confidence. That's fear disguised as strategy. A mature relationship requires honesty. If you notice distance, it's okay to acknowledge it. The key is how you do it. When your words come from self-respect, they create understanding. When they come from panic, they create pressure. That's why emotional stability is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. It allows you to communicate directly without losing control of yourself. One of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make is understanding that someone's distance is not automatically a reflection of your value. People pull away for many reasons. Sometimes those reasons have nothing to do with you. Sometimes they are dealing with stress, uncertainty, fear, or personal struggles. And sometimes they simply aren't capable of giving the kind of relationship you want. Whatever the reason, your worth remains unchanged. The moment you stop measuring your value through someone else's effort, you regain control of your emotions. Also remember this: the right person won't require endless decoding. Every relationship experiences challenges, misunderstandings, and periods of stress. But healthy relationships don't leave you in a constant state of confusion. You shouldn't have to become a detective to figure out whether someone cares. You shouldn't spend every night analyzing screenshots, checking response times, or searching for hidden meaning. And see,